11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think they're going to win it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
And thanks to those joining me live and those that will be joining me on the archive. If you're listening on archive right now, hit that like button. It's much appreciated. Don't forget to do that. I had some abysmal likes on my last video. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? But we can't blame that one on YouTube. You know what I mean? You can't say, oh, YouTube didn't give me the notification to hit the like once I was watching, right? I'm just saying, right? But it's much appreciated. If you like the content, it helps the content. Shout out to JC, Anthony Sanchez, Cervecero Music. Shout out to you. Shout out to those watching on X as well. You can always come to D-Style Boxing, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and hit the notification with the all. That way you're notified every time D-Style Boxing comes on live. And if you haven't already, if you're not getting notifications and you do have the setting, turn the setting off and then put it back on. So unclick the bell and then click the bell again. All right. Daniel in the building, how's it going? So you see the title. We're going to find out how many people actually listen to what I got to say, and they'll just go off the title. All right. So he's been exonerated, sort of, right? If I was a betting man, which I kind of am, if you were to have asked me when all this started, right, like the first initial days, if you would have asked me, how do you think this is going to end? I would have said, he's going to say it's a contamination, or his team is, and he's going to get some type of slap in the wrist, and everyone's going to move on. That would have been my prediction. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be. It's looking more likely now, but I'm just saying that was always from the very beginning. I came out and I say, you know what, Ryan, what are you doing? They're going to say it's a contamination, bro. I have the receipts. It's on my Twitter timeline, right? I said, what are you talking about when it comes to Victor Conte being involved and they're doing something at the lab or whatever the case is, right? There's a lot of things people just don't. It's one thing to be an expert in the topic, which I'm not, right? But you don't have to be an expert to be educated on the topic, to have some basic understanding of the basics, right? And some of the basics that I believe the boxing media has let people down over the last decade or so, people that proudly covered PDs never really made it clear to people that they use the same labs as USADA. They use the WADA labs, right? It was always implied, or at least that was the understanding a lot of people had. There was like different labs and whatnot. But just to say this, they use the same labs, guys. The A sample and the B sample are the same sample, right? It's the same urine that they took at the same time in the same cup, and from that cup they poured in 2 different vials, right? Those are just the basics, right? The other one is protocol. And my issue with VADA, the more you learn about VADA and the more you kind of there's issues I have. They're not the issues a lot of people out there have, okay? But and credit to guys like Joe Habib that have researched this and know about this and or whatnot. Okay, but as you look at it, VADA, all VADA does is hire somebody to collect, right? The water lab does the testing, and all VADA does is they have a list, right, of the illegal substances. They make a decision, and all this stuff right, this list right here is illegal, even out of competition. Even though VADA, USADA, right, wouldn't even care if those things were out of competition. So meaning like Valdez, the stimulant Valdez got caught with, right, was out of competition. Meaning, because people always say, because you want to hear something ironic, I'll give it to you right now. I remember listening to this YouTuber, right? And I'm not going to say, oh, say the name. No, because it's going to distract from the point of the video. All right. But there was several of people that were saying this anyway. The guy goes like this. I swear to God, right hand on the Bible. He goes like this. You can't make this up. Yeah, Valdez pop dirty, you see? That's why Mayweather wanted to clean up the sport and started the testing. Well, what's ironic about that is that Mayweather used USADA. So if Valdez was doing the testing Floyd was doing, you wouldn't hear anything about the stimulant. Even if USADA knew, USADA has it on their out of competition list, and they don't care if you use it. If it was USADA, they wouldn't give a shit. Right? But now, Calix and I interviewed Valdez. You know, and I have people that follow me on Instagram and Twitter. When I send out the, just to share it, right? There's one person who replies to me, "Don't send me anything from Valdez. He's a cheater. That man's a cheater. I don't want anything I don't like that guy. Don't share me anything. I want nothing to do with Oscar Valdez." Like, whoa. Not even whatever. Okay, you know, it's your right to not get shared something. Fine. Right? I didn't even respond. But you're going to tell me right now, this dude has to walk around with a scarlet letter on him, being called a cheater because of the flawed system VADA has. Okay? They don't do any investigation. They don't do VADA doesn't do anything. You just have a list, and then they just say, so-and-so tested positive. We're done. No adjudication process, nothing. They don't do anything else. They don't do anything else. They don't investigate anything. All they do you remember when you would go to school and you would be in the honor roll and they give you a star? They give you those little stars. There was you know which ones, right? They were on a paper and you could peel them off, and they had the silver ones you know what I mean? They had that neonish color, the green and the blue and the red, and every time you got the honor roll, they would give you a sticker. You know, remember that? That's what VADA does. They give people a nice pat in the back. Hey, congratulations to these two fighters. Pat in the back. They passed these tests. That's all they do. VADA doesn't really do anything else, right? That's really all they do. And if somebody tests positive, FYI, everybody, he tested positive. Questions? I don't know. We're not the commission. We're not investigation. Investigation. That's not our job. We're just letting you know that he tested positive, right? We're not saying anything else, all right? what you do with it, you do with it. Well, what do people do with it? They taint. And in my opinion, Oscar Valdez was done dirty by VADA. In my opinion. Now, Valdez agreed to the testing. He agreed to a list where that was out of competition, that it's still legal, right? Fair enough, right? But people can't put it in perspective. Is the problem, right? No, rules are rules. Positive. That's it. No, he's a cheater. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy, bro. Yet, if it was, that's why Freud brought testing. Yeah, but if we did it Freud's way, it's not going to be like, yeah, that shit's out of, that shit ain't even a factor. Like, it's not even going to matter on fight night. Like, literally, right? That's their opinion. That's WADA's opinion, right? And USADA uses the WADA list, right? And WADA and USADA conduct their own studies. They put out warnings about possible contaminated products. They do their own investigation. They do have their own adjudication process. Right? That's just the truth, bro. The other one, all they did was, and this is where the criticism of Conte, in my opinion, come in. It's my opinion, right? I think they took the word of Conte on what should be tested, how it should be tested, when it should be tested, and this was years ago, right? And from my knowledge, there's no peer-reviewed scientific studies on any logic that VADA. It's just Conte's opinion, right? It doesn't mean it's corrupt. It doesn't mean Conte is popping dudes dirty. It doesn't mean any of that, right? I'm not even saying Conte's wrong. I told you from the very beginning, I'm not an expert in this. I'm somewhat educated about it, right? I hear a lot of people say, I know enough that if someone says something extremely ignorant, I know it's stupid, right? But what I'm saying, I'm not saying Conte's wrong. What I'm saying is, what studies does Conte point to? Not just his opinion. What studies does he have? What scientific studies does he have to prove that his methods, right? That whatever he believes is wrong, like about the way VADA does their list, right? Why they're wrong that VADA, that some stuff, if it's out of competition, they don't really care, right? Why is it that what are we basing this out of? Other than the fact that, Conte's an expert. You know, and there's a lot of people out there that they're authoritarian by nature, and this is actually a fallacy, right? The fallacy of, you know, appeal to authority. You guys can look it up, right? People talk to quote unquote experts. They take the word for it. That's it. Oh, he's an expert. He knows. Yeah. The issue is it's okay to question experts and listen to other experts. All right. The reality is there's other experts that don't agree with Conte. So what I want to know is what peer-reviewed data and scientific studies for anything Conte says, how much of it is out there is what I'm asking. I'm not saying it's not out there. Conte is more than free to explain. You can give an explanation, bro, that sounds good, right? He explained why the Austrian will pop up, in small margins because it was always in the system, but it finally he was microdosing and it popped up because when he was losing away, it just makes it appear now. A little bit of it popped up. Well, whatever you want to say, Conte, sounds good, and maybe you're right. But where's your peer-reviewed data? Where is it? What scientific study is this based on, and what's your peer-reviewed data on it? Is what I want to know. because the science does show that the levels that Ryan has is very consistent, right? Like the evidence is pointing towards. Now, there's a lot of haziness, and I'm going to talk about that later, right? There's a lot of questions even I still have, okay? But even with all the haziness, it's pointing to the direction that, and I've always felt this way, that this is possibly a contamination. And you're looking at several athletes in other sports that have tested positive for the same drug. USADA has put out warnings about contaminated products. They're not on the label, right? Oh, I get it, right? You have to be responsible for what you take and put in your body. But to me, intent matters, and also I've always believed that the purpose behind, right, strict liability is, look, you can't say, oh, I didn't notice it wasn't on in the label, right? You can't say, oh, it was worded differently on the label. I didn't know what that meant, so that's why I took it. Okay. You can't say, well, it's not on the bottle, but when you buy it, it gives it to you like on a form or something. You can't say, well, I didn't know it wasn't on the bottle and it's not, but it was on the list that USADA provides. It gives you the list of all the drugs, okay, and that they're contaminated. You can't use that either. Like I get that the sugar, like I get that, right? But what we also need to do, right, is we need to be, you know, we need to use our judgment, guys, right? So, and Technique, I appreciate it. Look, I did do a video about the big fights, HCP. Check it out on Galaxy. I did a roundtable about it. I talked about it. D-Style Boxing does talk about the fights, but this video is about this, right? But I appreciate your feedback, and if you want to, you're more than welcome to check out that the content where we talked about the fights on Saturday. And the fights that happen, right? Every Monday roundtable at middle of the week, HCP, we talk about the fights. So back to this. All right. If that's where, to me, that's where the compass is pointing. It doesn't mean, right? It doesn't mean that that's what it's going to be. At the end of the day, the evidence is going to come out. And I've said from the very beginning, guys, you let the process play out. Both sides. Right? Because some people out here, you guys were saying some ridiculous shit, bro. It's amazing the ridiculous shit you were saying. Like, it's unbelievable. I'm just telling you right now, right? And a lot of it was because you guys just wanted to ride with Ryan, right? That's what it was. A lot of it was people that don't like David Haney, right? It is what, and people will change their stances on drug testing. They will change their stances on how they feel about drug testing if it involves a fighter they like, whether they're on the receiving end or the fighter that tested positive. And that's a pattern I've noticed, bro. A lot of people out there didn't give a fuck that Alicia Baumgartner popped dirty. You didn't give a shit. And a lot of people don't give a they just didn't give a fuck that it was Ryan. And you guys, you didn't care what the evidence showed. You were already going to argue for Ryan no matter what, and it shows. It shows, guys. Like it's obvious. And there was those condemning Ryan no matter what, right? Because you didn't like that David Haney lost. It's a two-way street. I get that. But I mean, let the cards fall as they may. Like, I'm a guy that I like to wait for the evidence to come out. And while I waited for that, of course I'm going to call. Even though I feel, you already heard what I said. If I were to bet my money on it, I'm pretty sure it's a contamination. But it's a process we need to follow. I'm not going to say, no, Ryan's innocent. No, he did everything. No, that's it. Yeah, he's exonerated. Just because that's what I believe it is. No, we need to make sure everything comes out and everything is done, on the up and up. Right? And I have serious questions. So First, let's address the Ryan Garcia dudes that were going around with the crazy shit y'all were saying, right? Hey, Victor Conte, he's got something to do with this. Victor Conte, dun dun dun. So, what about Victor Conte? I already explained my issues with Victor Conte. I've already explained them to you, right? But here's the problem, and this is again, and it goes back to everything depends on who the fighter is, how you feel about that fighter, and how you feel about the opponent, right? It's one thing if you've always been against Victor Conte and you've always been had a consistent message, and because Victor Conte is no stranger to boxing, right? I've always felt there's a conflict of interest with Victor Conte having any involvement with fighters or with VADA. I've always felt that way, but I've always expressed that, right? But I'm not going to accuse him of tampering with the vials. I'm not like it's stupid to even say things like as if the testing is done at his house or some shit like that. That's ridiculous. Like that's not even worth mentioning. But that's what a lot of people were saying. I don't trust Victor Conte. You know, he had something to do with it. Like, he had something to do, and you guys were just saying this stuff. But a lot of you are like Crawford fans, and you're saying this stuff. Crawford works with Smack. He works with Victor Conte. Oops. What's up, MAW Nando Llamas? All you guys. L3, amazing. Shout out to you. Daniel, what's it going? You guys see where I'm going with this? Like, do you understand? You can't be suspicious of Snack fighters, but then, like, when you were rooting on Andrade, you had nothing to say about Snack. You know what I mean? You had nothing to say about Conte. You had no issues with Conte then. Ryan's dad can't come out and say, "Oh, we don't even know. We didn't even know anything about Conte. He had involvement with VADA. What? We didn't even know that, and we would have known." Like when you worked with Conte, he worked with Victor Conte. Snack T-shirt on him, wearing the Snack T-shirt at the weigh-in. What do you mean? Do you not understand that? When it was saying like, oh, Eddie Hearn set me up. What do you mean Eddie Hearn set you up? He put the Austrian in the vial? Like, what are you talking about, dude? With Ryan Garcia, and believe it or not, I'm actually going to defend Ryan a little bit. In a little bit, just give me a second. I first got to address you dudes that were running with the shit that Ryan was saying. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Even Tank Davis. Yeah, that guy's a devil. He's a. I don't trust that guy. Yeah, he had something to do. He had something to do with what happened to Ryan. Like, what are you talking about, Tank? You dislike Devin that much that you'll believe anything Ryan says? You're not just gonna just wait on the evidence to come out. You're not gonna just wait on the process to play itself out. You're just gonna just believe whatever Ryan says. The thing Ryan originally showed, this is all I take. This is it. This is the only thing I take. Just it's not. It wasn't this, but that's it. That's all I take. That's it. That's all I take. It wasn't even that. So, look, it could be an honest contamination, but he could also be a flat out fucking liar. Okay, he was lying, and y'all was just running with it. Oh yeah, Eddie had something to do. Oh yeah. The Haney's. Oh, the Haney's had something to do with it. Drew Tynan made a video and he mentioned about it on Sunday. He heard. Come on, man. Like, are you kidding me? because some YouTuber said that he heard something, that's evidence to you? So that YouTuber said he should jump off a bridge, you're going to do it? Like, what does that even mean? Oh, his brother said he had an epiphany, and how do you know that he tested positive? Look, I heard the video. The brother said that he believes, like, maybe he suspected that Ryan was on some. Okay? But his brother, knowing or not knowing things, this whole conspiracy that they knew ahead of time and they must have known because they were behind it, they did something, like, 'cause that's what you guys are insinuating, right? Well, that's not what Ryan's team is saying. That's not what Ryan is even saying anymore. Ryan isn't saying any of that anymore. None of it, right? And from the very beginning, I came out and I said, Ryan, I even did a quote tweet to him. Your team's going to say it was contamination, brother. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what that's not, what are we doing here? Right? Like, this is stupid, bro. You're looking stupid. Even if the science proves you're contaminated, because you're spreading these conspiracy theories, and the people that think they're helping Ryan are going along with it, they're sounding ridiculous. They're sounding Lovegate level ridiculous with the things that we're saying, right? Then the reality is there's going to be a percentage of people that are not even going to believe it because they're going to see all the red flags. They're going to see your behavior. This is crazy. Oh, Eddie set me up. Eddie didn't want Haney to lose, and the Haney's got a lot of power, man. And I think Haney, he knew what was up. They contaminated it, and they put in Ryan's testing. And the people were saying that they're hiding the B sample. People were questioning how long why did it take 2 weeks? And I mean, do I need to go over everything, bro? Why would they let me fight if I tested positive? Doesn't make any sense. No, that was a sample that was taken a day before the fight, brother. The result came out afterwards. After the collectors got it, after it arrived to the lab. There's only 2 or 3 labs, I believe, in the US, right? And after they tested it. The process that we always have. And people have all, why did it take so long? Why did you guys were just questioning whatever you wanted, whatever you guys wanted to question because you wanted to side with Ryan, you just ran with it. And you're looking goofy now because now Ryan turned around. He's spitting on your faces. They say, thank you for having my back and thank you for just running with my stupid ass conspiracy theories. But my team, the experts I hired, I said it was a contamination. Yeah, it was an Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn didn't put on a wig. Okay, apply at the good store, you know, you know what I mean? And put on a wig, and when Ryan or somebody in his team bought the bottle, like Eddie wasn't like, how the fuck do you put Austrian? How would Eddie even do that? Like, for those that, what? What are we doing, guys? So that's that. Y'all looking goofy out here. I'm just saying, you're looking dumb, bro. 9 out of 10 times, the fighter's going to say it was a contamination. That's number one. Okay? That's number one. Because you can't go against the science. You just can't. There's a process involved. There's a way they do the test, guys. Robert Garcia has explained it multiple times how they test. They have the fighter do it themselves. Obviously, the fighter has to do it themselves, but they pour the piss in the vials themselves. They seal it themselves, and they you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it doesn't even have their name on it. It has a serial number or something like that, and it goes to the lab, and a dude in a lab gets the sample. You know what I mean? Whoa, my bad. Yes, glad it didn't break. They get the sample and they test it, and look, it's positive for this, and they hand it over to VADA, and VADA does what they do with it. That's all it is. The Haney's and Eddie Herner are doing some Mission Impossible shit. They're not like Tom Cruise. They're coming out the ceiling and shit. You know what I mean? And they're just like opening the vial. Awesome. Look, I'm not a chemist, right? And I actually want to interview a chemist, actually, but I'm pretty sure that when they do the testing in the lab, I'm pretty certain that they could know if the foreign substance was put in, like it was in because there's a process that our body goes through when we drink water, and it goes through our system, and it decomposes everything, even when we eat, right? There's a process in when the urine is created, okay, and then we piss it out. We piss out all our toxins. There's a process to that, guys, that our body does. Like they would know if, I'm pretty certain, and maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm not a chemist. All right, but I'm pretty certain they would know if somebody sprinkled in some Austrian after the fact. I'm pretty sure the mixture wouldn't be quite the same, especially as such. How the fuck do you possibly believe that anybody could put that low amount of Austrian on a clean vial with everything being negative on it? How can you possibly believe that? For there to be traces amounts, it would have to be something that came out originally through the piss. Okay? That I am pretty confident in saying that. Now, again, if I'm wrong, this how you're wrong, this is how it works, but that's cool, right? I'm just putting that out there. All right? Now, with that said, and I agree, 9 out of 10 times they'll cry contamination. It is what it is, right? Also, people need to stop calling it a steroid. It's not a steroid. There's debates whether it's effective or not. That's not my place. I don't know, right? I know it's in the ban list, and I know it shouldn't be in your system. I get that, right? That's why it's in the ban list. But all that aside, because again, if you're on Ryan's side, all that one guy, he said that Austria's not effective at all. This other guy over here, he said it is effective. If you're in David Haney's side, right? No, this other guy said it is effective, right? So Victor Conte, whether they like him or they don't, if he says something they want to hear, then they co-sign it. If some other guy says what you want to hear, you co-sign it. Well, I don't care about any of that. How about that? Right? Let's see whether it's effective or not to the side. Let's focus on it's an illegal substance that you shouldn't be taking. Let's just focus on that. The question is, was it a contamination, right? And was it taken intentionally? Because intent matters. And anyone who tells you intent doesn't matter, but of course it matters. Are you kidding me? Again, only if you're only on Haney's side and you want to be right, are you going to say intent doesn't matter, right? So with that said, here are some questions I have. Okay. There's a lot number on this. See that? Joe Beeb actually told me about this the other day. So I'm not one of those guys that talks to Joe Beeb and then I come on the internet and I just talk like this is the stuff I know. Like I'm an expert. Like I actually give credit to people when I talk to them. Okay. See how it says lot 30. If I was a fighter and this is all I had taken, right? Let's say this is all I took. These multi-gummy vitamins, which taste like shit. I'm gonna get some other ones, but it is what it is. Okay. Let's just say, and there's no Austrian. I looked at the label. There's no Austrian. This is all I took, right? What is the lot number? So here's the thing. Because like Showbiz the Adult was comparing, people were saying, why didn't Ryan follow protocol? Why didn't he send a sealed bottle? Right? And Ryan was like, LOL. Of course, I have to open it to use it, right? I mean, it's true, right? But you could send a bottle from the same lot, the same batch, that's sealed, so they could open it at the lab and test it. You could do that. Just like the A sample, the B sample, the same sample is like the same urine, right? And then they pour it into vials. Well, the batch that's made and put into bottles, it's all the same in that batch. That's why they have lot numbers. Right? So again, it goes back to a pattern of behavior. Now, did Ryan know that? I don't know. But the experts he hired to represent him don't know this? Possible. But you have a pattern of acting stupid. Right? I'm just saying this is suspicious. Like, you have a pattern. Like you acted stupid about the positive test before the fight. Why would they let me fight if I tested positive? Ryan has been getting tested since he was an amateur. And he's done several testing with VADA. And so we have his dad saying they didn't even know Victor Conte was involved at one point with VADA. He didn't even know who he was. Yet his son worked with SMAC. We had Ryan say that he don't even know why they would let him fight if he supposedly tested positive right before the fight, the day before. When he damn well knows, I would think anyway, that he would damn well know that, it takes about 10 days for the results to come out. Right? Interesting. That's why the Valdez thing was out of competition. It was before the fight, the result came out. We knew about it before. That's when the controversy at WBC didn't strip him happened. And then they allowed him to fight, but it was out of competition because when it came out, the test was done about, a little less than 2 weeks prior. Do you guys understand? So like it was so far off from the fight, that's why it was out of competition. But I'm just saying, like I don't know if I believe you, bro, that you didn't know that you could send a sealed. Like that one is more believable, right? Like it is. Like I'll be honest with you. Like at first I didn't even think about the lot number. Right? Like I just thought, well, I guess you just got to send them what you got, right? Is what I thought. I will say this, because of the low amounts of Austrian, it goes back to the same thing I said earlier, right? See, I'm a fair guy. Just like I said, Eddie Hearn's not gonna go in there and like. Just like I said that. I'm not saying it's impossible. Again, I'm not an expert. I wouldn't know, but how would they put such low levels of Austrian on whatever he took? Maybe if somebody could explain it. If an expert is out there and they could explain it, an expert, right? If I see some damn YouTuber come out and say, What do you mean? Anything is possible. They could make it happen. No. If an expert, please come and explain to me how that could be done. Okay. However, it doesn't take away from the fact that they could provide a sealed, because that's the protocol. Provide a sealed bottle. Put them in the same lot. They could do it, right? Why not? And I'm confident that you're going to have the same result. If you don't have the same result, holy shit. It's like, we got to know how the fuck they put low levels of oxygen on one bottle, right? Is what I would like to know. So, but I don't know if they can or can't. I'm just being honest with you. I don't know. I don't even know if that's possible. All right. So that's that. As far as the low amounts, and I get what people are saying, it would have no benefits, etc. Right? Um, Again, I have no idea why an athlete would take oxygen. I know that there's been bodybuilders and other athletes come out and say, I actually don't even help you. And there's been others that have said it does, right? So it's whatever to me. I've heard that, oh, it's something you microdose and the benefits of it, you get it on the lead up, right? Well, what about all the testing, which is a great question. What about all the testing, the test he passed prior? What did it show? Higher elevated levels of oxygen, and then closer to it, it would lower or something like that. Or, but the argument is, this is the argument. I'm not saying there's any science behind this. That's not what I'm saying. But the argument is that the product was masked, right? It wasn't detected by the earlier test because he's microdosing, right? But it was easier to catch the day before the fight, and I believe that the day after, day of, because he had to cut so much weight, right? He had to cut so much water weight, right? That some of it was detected, right, by the testing. Now, is that scientifically proven? I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I have no fucking clue. All right. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to say, yes, it is, just because I want to side with Haney. And I'm not going to be the guy that says, no, it isn't, because I want to side with Ryan. I'm just going to be honest, and I'm just going to say that I don't know. Right. I have no idea. But it's whatever. Like, I'm just saying that's, take it for what it is. I don't know. Right. However, these these levels, from my understanding, are very consistent with contamination, right? And 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 there is, we have USADA putting out the warnings. We have other athletes in other sports that were, like they took supplements that didn't have oxygen on the bottle, right? Labeled on it. They didn't know, they would never suspect that it was on there, right? And again, they wouldn't suspect it, right? So, and we have a pattern. It's happening multiple times. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence that shows that he possibly it was a contamination, right? And of course, not suspecting that it would be on there matters, right? Having no reason to believe that oxygen will be on a bottle that you're not taking for that intent, of course that matters. No. You're responsible for what goes in the system. You're telling me intent doesn't matter. Of course it matters. If you grab a gun, boom, shoot me point blank in the head with every intention to kill me, and you blow my brains out, right? That's a little different than, I don't know, like what, I don't know, like you're cleaning your gun and I walk in, and then it accidentally just fires. Oh shit! Oh man! Like, yeah, you still killed me, but like, yeah, my family members are gonna be mad at you because you like, what the fuck were you doing? You're being careless. But they're not gonna say, "Oh yeah, you murdered." It's the same thing. Like you intentionally did it. Like, give me a break. All right. So I don't know if microdosing for 3 months doesn't do anything. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe those bodybuilders are telling truth. I don't fucking know. Right? But it is what it is. I still think that whatever claims Conte makes about all this stuff, he should do a study on it, try to prove it, give us your hypothesis, and then just kind of go through the scientific method for us, if you may, and then have it peer reviewed, and then we'll go from there. You know what I mean? Like, it's I wouldn't mind that, to be quite frank with you, right? Um, but when these guys agree to the testing, they agree. I agree to not take this stuff, right? I just think it was a contamination. Like, I'm just being honest with you guys. That's what I think, right? Shout out to Los Tres Chingones Boxing. Shout out to Cholo. It is what it is, guys. I have no idea if anyone will take the rematch. I have no idea. Those are some of the things I want. Now, the science isn't a lie, guys. If they receive a sealed bottle on the same lot, they test it, right? Which I believe they can get themselves by. I don't even think they need Ryan to do that. If they can, like, if for whatever reason the science shows that yeah, what he took was contaminated, Austrian isn't in the level. There was no reason for him to even suspect Austrian was on there. It's not on any list of products that we have on a list or warnings or something like that. And if they could, if that and the science is consistent with it, and the science shows that it's consistent with contamination and consistent with the levels he has, and then it doesn't, like, I'm just gonna be transparent with you. It doesn't matter what Ryan said or didn't say. It doesn't matter how Ryan was acting before the fight. It doesn't matter if Ryan lied. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter if Ryan accused people of shit. It's still wrong. It's still fucked up that you're accusing people. If, like, you know what I mean, you're going out of your way to say Eddie Hearn, sets you up. He still owes, in my opinion, an apology to those people, right? Whether he does it or not, I have no idea, right? But the science doesn't lie. Like, if it's consistent with that, it's consistent with that. And I'll end it with this. Not that I want to defend Ryan, you know, but there's one thing that came to my mind, and I think it makes sense, or it could make sense, right? If Ryan legitimately was in shock when the results came in, let's just say, like, try to forget about how you feel about the situation. Just say you're a fighter. You're a fighter, right? You're Ryan Garcia, and you get word that you tested positive, right? And you're like, what? And let's say you genuinely don't feel like you're like, I didn't do anything, right? Um, and let's say you legitimately don't really know much about steroids. You don't really know much about PEDs and stuff like that. Just work with me here, right? If you're legitimately surprised that you tested positive for ostrom, right? And you're Ryan, and as Ryan Garcia, you don't even know about all the contaminated cases that came out before. You don't even know anything, right? Your first instinct is to just prove to people that you didn't do it. Well, you're gonna come out, you're gonna say, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna say you didn't do it. that you're not a cheater. Take my word for it. I'm a Christian, right? I wouldn't do this. And then you would probably think to yourself, oh man, maybe that Victor Conte is working with Haney. I mean, maybe he had something to do with it, and his conspiratorial mind starts to now doesn't excuse you motherfuckers around with it. I'll tell you that right now, right? But it could show how his conspiratorial mind started working. He probably started thinking, "Oh shit, they framed me." Because if you legitimately feel like I didn't do anything, you might come out and say some stupid shit like that. Quite frankly, you might be in a state of I need to deny, and you end up saying stupid things, right? Even if it make no sense. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, right? But what I'm saying is, it could explain maybe why he was saying a lot of things he was saying. You know what I mean? Like I remember watching this movie. I forget the name of the movie, but there's this guy. He's being accused of a crime. He's a judge, right? So he understands the law, and he hired a lawyer. And the lawyer is like, "Hey, we know you didn't do it. We're gonna just put the facts out there." But the way he was framed, right? The way everything looked, he looked guilty. You know, it's a movie, and we the audience know he's not guilty. But it looked like he was guilty. So the judge had a different idea, and he tells his lawyer, "Let's say this," and the lawyer said, "Well, that's not what happened. We can't lie." And the guy said, "Look, I know that, but what's important is that we both know I didn't do it, and we don't want I don't want to get convicted. And saying this, even though it's a lie, it's going to get me off, right?" Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I can see an individual thinking something sounds good, and it's going to make people say, "Okay, you didn't cheat," right? And it obviously worked with a lot of you, right? A lot of you ran with a lot of the dumb shit he was saying, right? And it was just a defense mechanism of him just saying, "Why would I fight if I didn't?" You know what I mean? Like, if I tested positive, why would they let me fight then? Right? I think he thought maybe in the moment he thought that's a phenomenal question, right? Yeah, why did they let me fight if I was positive? Maybe they did something to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because what he was insinuating was, and I thought this at first, but the more I thought about it, right? I don't think Ryan was saying, you guys knew I was guilty and I was positive, so why'd you let me fight? Right? He wasn't condemning VADA because they let him fight while he was juiced. That's not what happened. What he's insinuating or implying is, you know damn well I passed that test. You know damn well I'm clean, and you knew, and you let me fight because you knew I was clean. And then you later, after David lost, you did something to it. You guys set me up, and now because I like that was his. That's what he was trying to say, right? No, he was still lying. He still knows the process takes 10 days. But I think he thought it sounded good. Oh, yeah, people are going to be like, yeah, well, why let him fight if or whatever, right? So maybe in his mind it could be, I'm not in his mind. Hey, I'm innocent. I'm going to say what, if I can convince people I didn't do it, I'm going to say what I got to say, right? So I think some of it was that, if I'm honest. The problem with it is that he's a troll. He likes to kid around too much. He says a lot of stupid things, right? So it's hard to prove that. It's hard to, he could totally have just been bullshitting, right? So it is what it is, but that's all I got to say. Let the facts come out. Let the science speak for itself. It doesn't matter what Ryan Garcia says. It doesn't matter what Devin Haney and his fans say, what Ryan fans say. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what the science says in the lab. And that goes, and they're testing the substance that doesn't say Austrian on it, but they test it at the lab and it shows signs that it's positive for Austrian. You can't in good faith say, oh, no, it doesn't matter. Of course it matters, right? So that is that. This is the style. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. For those tuning in live, you let me know that this is like a time I can actually do. So tell me this is a time that works for you. Maybe better than midday, whatever it is. I just want to give you guys what you want. You know what I mean? This is the style boxing. Keep it boxing. I'm out. Peace.